Welcome to the Digital Dreaming Off the Gridiron podcast. As your host, Oscar Lee, I'm joined today by 2014 NFC Championship Game starting running back, in addition to 2012 NFC champion for the Super Bowl 47 Niners. The last time the 49ers were the 2 seed playing the 1 seed on the road was when this man was on the roster, Anthony Boobie Dixon. Anthony, how you doing today, bro?
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
Doing great. Hey, so
Yes,
like I
sir.
just said, and like we are talking about before you joined, right? Obviously, the Niners are the 2 seed heading on the road, and it was very similar to that 2013 season when the Niners had won 8 straight, going to Seattle, and kind of now you see them win 12 straight, going to Philadelphia. But it feels like this team has a much better shot, all due respect, than your team, the 2013 team, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that. I think we was pretty good too, but I guess you can say that right
there. No, for real though. I mean, if Cap made that throw, oh my God, if he checked it down, it would have been a different story. But that's sports. So
right.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Obviously, so now the Niners are basically going on the road to Philadelphia. You obviously before we started the podcast, you were talking to me about obviously you were planning to see if you're going to go home after a few weeks, but now obviously Niners have a shot to make the Super Bowl. So what are you looking forward to this Sunday? Obviously, you have the Eagles offense with Jalen Hurts, that dynamic RPO game. You also have the defensive line of the Eagles, who are basically are third most sacks in NFL history by any team, and obviously a secondary Darius Slay. So they do got ballers on both sides of the ball. So, but with the Niners, obviously, right, the number 1 ranked total defense, right? We also got C-Mac, who's that X factor, So kind of what are you looking for in Sunday's matchup?
In Sunday's matchup, man, I've been telling some fans and I've been telling some guys, that I've been talking to about the Niners with. Man, I want to see them start out, in the first half better.
Yeah.
Start the game better. They don't start games good, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see them come out in the first half and take care of the ball, put some points up, score some points early, establish our physicality early, take some shots early, blitz Jalen Hurts, get to him. You know what I'm saying? I want to see them, their energy they bring out the locker room with the boom box. I want it to continue once the game starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like somehow, some way it kind of get lost a little bit, and then in the second half, they kind of start coming back and executing like they need to, So I just want to see them start out better and finish like they have been.
100%. I think what you just brought up is a very, very massive point. You've seen the games this playoff run, obviously against the Seahawks, right? We call them Seahawks, not Seahawks.
Right.
The innovator of that term on the other side of this phone, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously, Boobie D, right? So yeah, the Seahawks 17-16 at halftime. Niners basically, were able to close, shut them out in the second half and score an unanswered 25 points, for final score for 41-24. Dallas, obviously we saw the same thing. It started off, what was it, 9-6? It was 6-6, 3, then 6, and then 6-6. Going into the second half, and then obviously, Niners, they were able to come up on top by outscoring the Cowboys 10-6 in that second half. Or 13. Sorry, 13. Yeah, 13-6 in the second half. But, obviously I think that Cowboys game, prepared the Niners. Actually, let me get your take on both the Seattle Seahawks game and the Cowboys game. Which game impressed you most from the Niners playoff run so far?
I think it would have been the Cowboys game. You know what I'm saying? Because, I think they was evenly matched, as far as talent go. And, and it was a dog fight, 6-6 at halftime. I don't think nobody in the stadium was expecting that. You know what I'm saying? But they came back and they fought through the adversity. Once again, they made the big plays they need to make to kind of turn the outcome of the game, and they got the W. So this last one was definitely the most impressive.
100%. No, I agree with you on that because the strength of the opponent, and I think it was a good tune-up game for Philadelphia because what they saw against Dallas, they're going to see more of that, if not, better with Philadelphia. And Dallas, when they played Philadelphia, both times this season, it was a single score game. both times. So it was 26-17, and then, you know, a 40-34. So I mean, you know, the Niners were basically, you know, they showed that they can hang, you know, with the elite offenses of the NFL with that dominating win, you know. And so let me ask you, for your perspective, obviously, when you were going and playing against Seattle, which was your first start, you know, in the NFL in the NFC Championship game, right, 9 years ago, kind of what went through your mind? Obviously, what was that like, you know, for you guys? Because obviously Seattle, you know, going in there, you know, hostile territory, and obviously, you know, my opinion, a much louder arena, or sorry, much louder stadium than Philadelphia. Even though Philadelphia is going to be equally, you know, if not, you know, just as loud. Kind of what was that like, you know, for you? Kind of what type of preparations, you know, go into the minds of everyone traveling as a road team?
Well, man, you know, it's at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's all football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just approached it like that. It's something I had been doing all my life. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just approached it like, hey, man, I'm getting ready to go out here and ball out another game. Now,
Yeah.
Seattle, they was rivals. So, you know, it's a little extra added on to it, some noise talking going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We talking, boy.
Yeah, I had some players that I played in college with on their team. So I was talking noise to them during the week. You know, I always like to get in the opponent's head a little bit
Yeah.
and mess with them a little bit. But man, like I said, I just really approached it like, hey, this could be, you know, my last game. You know, this could be I always approached every game like it could be my last game in my career. You know what I'm saying? You know, because who knows what happens? You know, somebody get injured. You know what I'm saying? You never know what happens. So when you know, I always approach it like, hey, this could be it for me. So I wanted to make sure that I was prepared to the fullest, and you know, I was ready to go out there and ball. So yeah, that's all it was.
100%. No, like you said, you know, I mean, short-term memory and just having that, you know, competitive mindset, like you said, getting into the heads of your opponents and winning that mental battle. You know, I think football is 95% mental for anyone who's never played. And, you know, I think if you can have that mental advantage, you know, over your opponent, you pretty much set yourself up for success, you know.
Yep.
And I think the Niners do have a mental advantage, at least a competitive advantage, because obviously, you know, they've been a little bit more battle tested, in my humble opinion, based on the schedule they played this year. I mean, everyone says Niners schedule has been soft, you know, obviously who aren't for the Niners faithful, but you know, they went 5-1 against playoff teams in the regular season. You saw how they played against Dallas, who ended up, you know, it was a dogfight against Philadelphia, going 40-34, you know, the last time they played. So, you know, I think, you know, I mean, that definitely shows, you know, the Niners grit and their determination and their abilities to, you know, go toe to toe with the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah, and just last year, you know, they was just saying that the NFC was the strongest conference. So, you know, man, all that stuff is just talk. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? The NFC East, they had a good year this year, but they've been sorry like the last 3-4 years. So congratulations to them. Congratulations, y'all finally had a decent year. You know, and but no, man, the Niners been playing tough teams, and I always tell people all the time, I'm like, all those games are tough, man. You know, it's the NFL. You know, nobody's coming out there laying down. Those dudes got families to feed too. So the teams the Niners was playing were good teams. You know, maybe they weren't the elite or the great teams in the NFL, but hey, they were good teams. And you know, the Niners have been playing good teams the last 2-3 years. So, like I say, the NFC's finally had a good year, good big year, and you know, I guess they want to brag about that, but you know, we knocking them down, man. We knocking them down. We finna knock the Eagles out, and if we would have seen the Giants, we're gonna knock them out too.
Hell
So
yeah, no, because I
I'm
know, I know you got some personal kind of, you know, vendetta against the Giants. If they were to come
oh
out here
yeah,
against Levi's, you know what I mean?
can't stand the Giants. Can't
Man,
stand them. Took something precious from you. Can't
yeah,
stand
can't stand
it.
it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I think if the Giants had won, you know, that would have been just classic. But you know, ultimately, you know, I mean, the Eagles are obviously a much better team. The Giants, I mean, it just proves to kind of how soft Minnesota was in the NFC North, right? You know, their strength of schedule, because they had the worst point differential of any team, you know, in the playoffs. And I said it on the podcast before that matchup for Wild Card Weekend. The Vikings defense is their Achilles heel. People are not paying attention to how bad that defense was, and then you saw how bad they were against the Giants. You know, letting Danny Dimes run up shot, you know, any chance he got. And I mean, that's just that. And a hallmark of a great team is balance, right? The Niners are obviously the 5th ranked offense, the number 1 ranked total defense, right? Eagles are, I think, what, number 2 or 3 or 4, as obviously number 1 in sacks, but you know, their offense is, you know, predicated on the run game. I think that's going to be the X factor. I think the Niners can stop the Eagles' run game. Everyone's talking about Jalen Hurts and the RPO, and everyone's scared of the deep ball because of the secondary. But I think if the Niners front four and obviously Fred Warner and the boys in the linebacking core, kind of like your boys, Willis and Bowman, right? If they can get after what's his name? Miles Sanders. If they get after Miles Sanders, if they can get after, Boston Scott, it's going to be a long day for the Eagles.
Gainwell had a pretty big game. Kenneth Gainwell had a pretty big game last week, so got to contain him. But I think with those running backs, those are the running backs that 49ers don't mind playing against. They're not big, physical, imposing guys. They're not really going to run you over and just dominate. You just got to get them, kind of get them good when you get them. You know what I'm saying? And you can kind of keep them in place. And I think Fred and Greenlaw and 51 and all the linebackers ready for that challenge.
Hell yeah, 100%. Azeez is ready for that challenge too. And it's been crazy to see Azeez's progression as a player, these last couple of seasons. I mean, he's just developed into that third best kind of linebacker, on the
team. Yeah. I think that last play of the game against Zeke, I think that kind of describes, where he at with things. He got that dog mentality. He ready to run through something. So, I think the Cowboys backfield was just as good as the Eagles backfield. So, you know what I'm saying? We handled them pretty good. So, like I said, bring it on.
Bring it on, baby. But, to your earlier point about the Niners starting off slow, they only had 27 yards in that first half against the Cowboys. So they're going to have to, turn that up a notch against Philly. Yeah, so we'll see.
It's going to get them in trouble, man, eventually. And I hate to see it happen to them, man, but I've been there, luckily when we went to the Super Bowl that one year, we came back against Atlanta, but we started out too slow. Then against the Ravens, we all know what happened. We started out too slow. So, that's what I kind of been preaching, to anybody who will listen. I'm like, we got to stop starting out slow. We got to come out in the first quarter and be on point. They need to make that an emphasis this week and make that a challenge that we come out in the first quarter with our heads on right and we locked in and we're not making mistakes and we're not letting teams get, ahead of us to where we got to fight and burn everything in the tank just to come back and make it even and, hope for a late field goal or something like that. They need to get ahead, do they work early,
100%. 100%. With you on that, big dog. And now let's talk about your other team, the AFC, the Bills. I mean, I'm sorry about what happened this weekend, but, the Bengals advanced. So kind of with the AFC Championship, kind of what, I guess let me first ask you first for the Bengals and the Bills, kind of how does this Bill season go down in like history because of, obviously DeMar Hamlin, number 3, and everything that went on with him? Like, what is the legacy of this season for the Bills?
I mean, good, but not good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. I've been there. I've been on teams, and you can say the same thing about some of the teams that I was on, Yeah, we was good, had a lot of great players, but it wasn't good enough when it all come down to it. So, yeah, we was back to the lab, back to work. I don't think they need to take much time off in the off season, and they need to get their butts back to work so they can get it great, and it's good enough next year.
100%. No, they definitely got to do that. Now let's talk about the AFC Championship. Joe Burrow against Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow is 3-0 against the Chiefs. Obviously, the last time Niners lost the game was against the Chiefs, and then they went on that. They obviously have not lost since. So Joe Burrow against the Chiefs in his career is 3-0. He has either 9-1 touchdown record, 72% completion, and he averages 293 yards per game passing every time he plays the Chiefs. So let me ask you this: what are you looking forward to for the Chiefs matchup and against the Bengals?
Hey, from what you just said, sound like an upset on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
But you know what, man? In this one, I'm going to ride with the Chiefs, you know what I'm saying? Because I love some Chris Jones. I love some Willie Gay. They both Mississippi State boys.
Yeah.
And I love seeing them do good. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to ride with the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a dog fight. I think it's going to be a classic type of flow to the game, a lot of oohs and ahs, a lot of great receivers in this one, great defenders in this one, great quarterback play in this one. Now, I do think if Patrick Mahomes start, if he start hurting or he get that gimp, and he not looking good, it could get ugly for the Chiefs. I thought maybe a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville, or last week against Jacksonville that it maybe was gonna get a little ugly if they could just kind of muster something up or catch a break on special teams, something where they could push Patrick Mahomes even more. So I think that's the thing, with Patrick Mahomes. He's a great quarterback, great athlete. You know what I'm saying? But you got to hit him, man. You got to put some on his mind. You got to put some of that pain in his body. You know what I'm saying? So he can slow down and he's not as good. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't say you necessarily go out. I don't never, go into the game saying we want to go out here and hurt this guy or we want to go out here and see this guy hurt. That's not why we play the game. But we do play the game to inflict pain.
Yes,
So,
sir.
you know what I'm saying? You want to put pain in his body. Give him something to think about early and often. And the Eagles, not the Eagles, but the Bengals could have a, really good shot to beat them.
100%, because not only like you said, the pain and obviously the factor of the injury, but if you saw that game against Jacksonville, like what you just said, they had multiple opportunities to win that game. They had if Christian Kirk could caught that ball at the 5, if like you said, special teams, if they were able to break through, if the DBs held on to a few of those interceptions, because those were basically interceptions. I mean, that we would be talking about the Jags and Bengals, the battle of the 2 first overall picks for the past 3 drafts. So I mean that would have been some shit. You know what I mean? So
right, yeah, that would have been crazy. Even though I think probably if we could have just, I don't know, man. I think Buffalo too need to build a dome.
Yeah.
I don't know if that snow is helping us out down there, man. Like, I know they love it, but I think the Bills need a dome, and I think some of the players even spoke out about it, recently. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That snow is just tough. You know what I'm saying? And even though the Bengals had to play in it too, and I'm not trying to make no excuses, but I would like to see the Bills, get on a better surface. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And see what that may look like. But yeah, here we have it. Chiefs and Bengals. You know what I'm saying? And we finna see what it do, I guess.
We'll see what it do, baby. We're finna get it popping.
Finna get it popping.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm only really worried about these Niners, baby. I'm only really worried about these Niners. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, now it's going up first. You know what I mean? So there's a reason for that. So I mean, we felt locked in on that game. So and I think to your point about the surface, though, look, you see the Niners kind of with the turf injuries and everything like that, because we've had so many injuries. Again, the last couple of seasons. It's because of the surface, that Niners practice, the practice facility, and also Levi's, I mean, if it was just, pure grass, like you said, I mean, it would definitely, limit, in my opinion, some of those injuries that we see from the Niners year in, year out. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah, no. So it looks like we got 2 monster matchups. Obviously, let's talk about the Niners. Right now, Kyle Shanahan is the finalist for Coach of the Year. Christian McCaffrey, finalist for Comeback Player of the Year. Let's see. Yes, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Brock Purdy, number 13, and last one,
definitely Rookie of the Year. Definitely Rookie of the Year.
Definitely Rookie of the Year. And there's one more. Oh yeah, D'Amico Ryans, Assistant Coach of the Year. So, do you think the Niners are going to win any of the awards? And if they don't, because if you remember back when, the 2011 team, when y'all were able to make it against the Giants, Justin Smith was robbed for Defense Player of the Year and Alden Smith was robbed for Defense Player of the Year. I mean, Jim Harbaugh obviously won Coach of the Year, right? But Ken, did you see Niners taking any of these awards?
Oh yeah, they'll definitely win some.
Yeah.
But with those guys, I don't really think they really care about that for real. Right now, you know what I'm saying? I think for them it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, last year they were so close, and then this year, you gotta be thinking that way. You gotta feel like that. You don't want to have that letdown. So, yeah, why not? I think the trade to get C-Mac meant that we was going all in to get the Super Bowl. So, I think most of those guys are really focused on that. You know what I'm saying? The individual awards, all that stuff is gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And but they got to be focused on that Super Bowl.
It's funny. Last time you were on was right after they got C-Mac, and we're talking about obviously after the Chiefs game, and we're talking about the secondary and some of the issues that we saw against the Chiefs, right? Against and so we forgot number 38, Tashawn Gibson. We know his name. We calling out right now. That boy's a dog, and we've seen Deshaun the Commodore Lenore yet. Sorry, number 38 is the Commodore Lenore. Number 31 is Sean Gibson.
Yeah.
And the Commodore Lenore has always been stepping up this postseason too. I mean, you've seen him just make some serious, I think 2 interceptions in the past 2 games. I mean, when people were questioning his ability, so we've seen the defense and especially the secondary take leaps and bounds, to become better. Kind of, what have you seen? What's really impressed you the most from seeing this team from when they last lost to where they are now?
Just their execution, their energy, their physicality. It seems like they picked up from last year.
Yeah.
It really wasn't much of a drop off. And they might even got better. You know what I'm saying? And so they playing with their confidence, they playing with their swagger. I've been at the games hollering at them behind the bench, and they responsive. You know what I'm saying? They definitely been over there giving some looks and some head nods, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I like these guys, man. I like this bunch, They playing with great energy. I like their style, and I think they can go get it. I think they can win it.
I think so too. I mean, if Brock Purdy wins Sunday, he'll be the first rookie ever to win a conference championship. And then he'll obviously be the first rookie ever to start in the Super Bowl. And, I mean, Brock Purdy's basically defied all the odds, for this entire kind of, I mean, it's broken not just, Niners, the kind of franchise records as a rookie, but NFL records as a rookie. I mean, his playoff debut, he set the most passing yards, for a Niner in his playoff rookie debut, but also most total touchdowns for any rookie in the playoff debut with 4. And you've just seen him, obviously, even against a tough Dallas team, he outplayed like your Mississippi State Bulldog boy, Dak Prescott, number 4. He outplayed him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, unfortunately, he did.
Unfortunately. I mean,
well, I was rooting for Dak to have a good game but lose.
You
know what I'm saying? I ain't want to see him play that bad. I was like, oh my goodness, Dak. I at least wanted to see some fireworks so I could say, hey, yeah, Dak balled out, but it just wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I wanted the storyline to go, but shoot, it didn't go like that. So, but man, you got to give credit what credit is due. Brock did what he had to do to get the win. Even it was times where Brock didn't necessarily look just great. You know what I'm saying? But I think, just his grind and he gritty, he figures it out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think he got what it takes, man. And if he, run off, the rest of these games and win the rest of these games, man, he's set up for Hollywood. They got to be making a movie about him soon.
Oh my
God. What I'm saying? And the Niners got to pay that man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's looking good for him, man. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he doing his thing. He playing for my favorite team. So, looking pretty good.
Pretty good. You actually said something that jolted my memory from the last guest, Dexter Carter, who was on last Super Bowl championship team in 1994. He basically said that obviously with Brock Purdy and how well he's playing, basically with Trey Lance, and he said he has all love in the world for Trey, right? And I'm going to get your thoughts on this because Randy Cross, the guest before that, 3-time Super Bowl champ in the 80s, he said the same thing. He said, if Brock Purdy can win, we're going to have a QB controversy on our hands with Trey, with Jimmy, and with Brock. Where do you stand right now? I mean, let's say Brock is able to take the Niners all the way, as we hope and hopefully expect, for them to do. Where do you see the QB room shaping out? Because you look at it, Trey and Brock are 2 rookies, basically on rookie deals, and they're locked up for the next 4-5 seasons or 3-4 seasons, right? And obviously with Jimmy, he might end up, he's probably he's set to get a big free agent, offer wherever he goes. So kind of what's your take on the Niners QB situation?
Well, I think, you got to stay with the youngins. That's what the NFL like. I'm not saying that you got to stay with the youngins, but I know the NFL and I know what they like. They like the new car, the new Porsche. So you got to stay with the youngin. You got to stay with Brock. You got to stay with Trey. Salute to Jimmy. Big time salute to Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? I hope he find, another place next year and he, keep balling like he do. But I'm pretty sure the Niners are gonna move on from him. And you just stick with Brock and Trey and let them keep developing. A lot of people I was talking to, they were saying that they just didn't know about Trey. I'm like, man, the dude only played 5 games, 6 games. That's not enough to determine how good a quarterback gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So, man, you just let them keep competing. It's good to have both of them. So I say, stick with Purdy. right now. Let him keep, balling. Let him use all that magic he got because it's working. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So, I say they stay with him, keep Trey in the back pocket, let him get healthy. Because I think Trey can still gonna be a good player too. You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of where I stand with it.
With Trey, Kyle, when he got injured, Kyle basically said Buffalo uses their QB the same way that when he tried to when he called that draw up the middle, he said, Buffalo uses their QB the same way. I mean, Josh, right? Do you see elements? Do you see Trey? Is there a potential for Trey to become a Josh Allen?
Yes, yes. I think, he had to just keep being fearless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was a freak accident, man. Injuries happen, you know what I'm saying? Now, do he just want to make a living out of that? No, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, man, play ball. Like, when it's Sunday, you got to do whatever necessary to get that first down, to move them chains, to get them points. You know what I'm saying? So if it's run, run. If it's pass, throw it. So, you know what I'm saying? He just got to keep playing ball. Don't worry about what people saying. If it's for him, it's gonna be for him. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? So, just keep playing. Just keep doing what he been doing to get himself here, to get this far. So, that was my philosophy when I played. I really didn't want to change nothing. I was, open to learning new things, which I did from Tom Rathman and Frank Gore and, the other great backs that I played with. But I wasn't changing my mentality. I still was going to go out there and be physical. I still was going to go out there and jump over defenders if I needed to, run through defenders if I needed to, same mentality I had in high school. So, it's just doing what got you here. Just keep doing what got you here.
100%, 100%. Speak of which, you mentioned your playing career. I was going to now you Joel's mind for another question about the current Niners special teams. Because if you saw last game, Ray had that fumble, and before it gets back to Kyle, right back in the 2011 NFC Championship Game against the Giants, Kyle Williams with the 2 fumbles on punt return. What the Niners special teams, they have an advantage because they have punt blocking, they have schematic creativity, but those plays, if you make that mistake against Philly, they're going to make you pay for it. What is your take on the current state of the Niners special teams? Because, they don't really have a returner who can really blow off the top, like other teams, like such as a Kevontae Turpin, right? But kind of what do you think about the Niners special teams and kind of the mistakes you saw last week and kind of their overall playoff performance and what you're expecting to see on Sunday?
Man, well, I think Ray is a great returner himself. I seen him make big plays this year, in the return game, in the pass game, and even in the Cowboys game, man. He had the big fumble in. Yeah, everybody was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? But you see the play right after that, he came back and made a huge play. They got the crowd right back going. He got the sideline right back going. So, they kind of, that was like a plus minus. So they kind of just like, washed itself out. I'm not mad at him. You know what I'm saying? For the fumble, because he kept fighting. He kept it going. Came back and made another play. And that's what the games are about, man. It's gonna be some ups and downs. The other teams gonna make plays. Philly might have a fumble or two tomorrow. We might have a fumble or two, in the game. But who gonna keep playing? Who gonna stay relentless? Who gonna stay fearless and keep making plays? And when I see players do stuff like that, I can rock with that. I can work with that. But I think the Niners just gotta be better all the way around. You know what I'm saying? We gotta keep the big returns down. We need to have less penalties. Just little stuff like that, man. In special teams, you want to win the field position battle. We need them down some punts inside the 10, in the 20. We just need them to be great. We need them to be great on Sunday for sure to get the win.
100%. No, they gotta be great, like you said, on all 3 phases of the games: offense, defense, special teams. When I played JUCO, obviously, my coach would always tell us, after summer ball 2 days, we're sweating, dripping, just about to die. Special teams wins games. And that's how I got my opportunity in JUCO and semi-pro and arena. That's how you obviously got your opportunity at the highest level. And that's, and I think, if, like you said, if they can, come with a concerted effort, like you said, the mistakes are going to may or may not happen. But if the team that can force the most mistakes, which I think the Niners can, because you look at the turnover differential, you look at, all the different kind of, I guess, key indicators of a great team. The Niners basically are top 5 in each one of those indicators, in each one of those statistical categories. Obviously, number 1 in turnovers, or number 2, and number 1 in the turnover differential margin right now, takeaways in the NFL. And, we've seen teams like such as the Saints back in 2009. We've seen the teams like the Packers back in 2010. The teams who win those types of, those turnover battles, they end up, making some pretty amazing stuff happen. So,
yeah. And the team, like I said, they keep playing playing the way they've been playing. Like, the 49ers don't need to go out there Sunday and say, hey, man, we was this close to making this mistake last week. So, we're not going to, nah, man, just keep playing. Keep taking your shots, keep taking your risks. Brock Purdy got to keep being Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? The defense got to keep playing, man. Just go all out. Go all in. Don't start, cutting back now. I don't want to see Kyle get out there Sunday and he don't want to take no shots to Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle down the field, man. Let that thing fly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go out there. I love Darius Slay and Fletcher Cox and, them my boys too, but hey, go after they butts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't give them no day off. You know what I'm saying? Make sure they came to work. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they hurt you, that's a different thing, not to try something else. But until they do, go after they butts, because they could have an off game. Who knows? But if you don't go at them, if you come in the game tiptoeing and playing scary, you're not gonna get what you want out of it. So, man, they got to keep the foot on the gas, and try to put their foot on the Eagles' neck early. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would come out there and run a couple times, send Trent Williams. I want to see Trent Williams go in motion this week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? like they did against the Green Bay Packers. You know what I'm saying? Like, just come out with that dog mentality, you know what I'm saying? And take it to them, you know what I'm saying?
You definitely got to come out with that dog mentality and definitely pose your will on them, you know what I'm saying, big dog? Because if you can do that and you can win that kind of that physical mental battle up front, you can definitely make some shit happen, So, we'll see, but I think, to your point, I think, they will be a little more creative. A lot of the criticism I've seen on Twitter is that, Kyle's play calling in the last game was a little too conservative against Dallas. I think maybe because, people said that he was a little bit, hesitant to kind of put Brock in uncomfortable situations. He didn't want to call anything, too risky. But, I think now that Brock kind of got the cobwebs out, I think now that opens up those play action passing lanes, those, like you said, Kittle, Ayuk, all Debo, the Swiss knife type of receivers who can impact you, who could impact the game from both the backfield as well as, lining up on line of scrimmage, right? So, there's a lot of weapons at the disposal of the 49ers. And there's, like you said, if they come out swinging, it's going to be a good night, for anyone who rocks the red and gold, you know what I'm saying? So,
right. And man, just watching these last, 2 months, 3 months, I've been watching them. Brock love uncomfortable situations, if you ask me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He like to run around, twist and turn and spin around, and, he like to hold the ball and, play, kind of like backyardish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he got a little Patrick Mahomes in him. So, man, don't worry about that. Just call them plays. Kyle, call it. Call it and run it. You know what I'm saying? And see what it do. That's what I would tell him.
100%. It's funny you actually mentioned that, because that reminds me, obviously, when Colin, was taking the helm and, the Super Bowl year against the Green Bay Packers, he set the record for most rushing yards in the touchdown and most rushing yards in a playoff game. How is that? Well, how do you compare kind of Colin's run with kind of Brock's run that first season?
I would say it's kind of similar, because both guys got in there off injuries, but they got different styles for sure. Cap was more of a runner and more of a straight line bullet passer. His deep ball game was sometimes questionable. You know what I'm saying? But I think Brock a little bit opposite. I think he a little bit more finesse. He can throw. His deep ball is a little bit better. He a little bit more. He might be a little bit more accurate than what Cap was. You know what I'm saying? And But they both got that same, extend the play, make things happen. First you like, oh no, then you like, yeah. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They both got that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they just got to keep being, them guys. You know what I'm saying? It's, obviously they different, body builds. Brock Purdy not as big as Cap. You know what I'm saying? So he can't take on defenders, and he don't really want to take licks like Cap was probably willing to do. But hey, I still say you got to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Brock can take off too. You know what I'm saying? He might have to take off this week. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he does.
It's funny. I think Brock, a lot of comparisons are to a small Russell Wilson. I mean, kind of like not
Yeah.
necessarily small, but like, a mini Russell Wilson in the sense that, Russell Wilson had a much better deep ball, but, their playing styles are very similar. I mean, have you seen kind of the same kind of playing style with Russ and Brock?
Yeah, I have. They both got similar bills, and they kind of just, figure it out. They find a way. You know what I'm saying? Even when it don't look good, I remember those times where we was playing Russell Wilson when he was back in the Seahawks, and our defense would be all over him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have him running for his life, but somehow, some way, this joker just find a way to get one in here, get one in there, and they get a couple points out of it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I think Brock got kind of the same way. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's gonna look. It ain't pretty all day. You know what I'm saying? He ain't pretty all day, but he pretty enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, to get to get the win. So you know what I'm saying. He just got to stay gritty, man. Just stay relentless. You know what I'm saying? We could come up with 1,000 scenarios and situations where he'll be challenged, but he got to believe and keep his faith and keep playing how he play. You know.
Before the Cowboys game, Brock and the Niners have averaged 37 points in 4 straight games, 33 points in the last 11 games before the Cowboys game. So, I mean, you can tell, obviously, like you said, like Brock thrives being the uncomfortable situation. And I think, to your point, I think, like you said, I mean, we could kind of scheme and talk about, a lot of criticism are kind of the check down, and he relies on C-Mac coming out of the backfield. But my response to that is, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you trade for C-Mac because you want him to be the focal point of the offense, and you saw him make some, pretty nice passes to George Kittle. You saw him make some passes to Debo and Ayuk, and, some passes which Ayuk, if he caught, I mean, it would help his stat line even further. But with that said, I think, Brock has shown, like you said, that poise and, that confidence and that X factor, and, I mean, I don't want to, compare him right now, but I'm seeing, I mean, like, if you remember Joe Montana, I mean, back, before you and I were born, back in 1980, right? I mean, you watched the film, he stepped in against the Saints, brought them back down 25 and they ended up winning, so, and then you saw him the next season, taking the Super Bowl. So you've seen with Tom Brady, come in for Drew Bledsoe in the middle of the season. Very similar, last sixth round pick. He ends up taking them all the way to Super Bowl, right? He wasn't a rookie, but still, I mean, I mean, I think that's why Brock, like you said, it's so unconventional, how well he's been playing. But because he plays with so much maturity and poise, I mean, it almost feels like, you're watching a veteran, do work, in a rookie's body. So.
Yep. And too, just to add to that, man, I think he just got to get everybody involved,
Yeah.
I think this game, especially too, we need a huge game from Debo.
Yeah.
We need a big game from Debo. I want to see him, really get active this game, man, because we're going to need it. I think C-Mac and Mitchell and Mason, are pretty much going to handle the run game. But I just want to see him get more chances with the ball, in his hand. Because when you get in big games like this, you want to go down, with your best players on the field. You know what I'm saying? I would even like to see him return a punt or a kickoff or something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it be, I just want to see him get the ball so we can say, hey, at least, we got him at least 10 to 15 touches, this game, man, because, he carried us last year, you know what I'm saying, with that magical season. If you ask me, I still think he the guy. You know what I'm saying? So even with C-Mac and Brock, I still think that he's the guy that can really put the team on his back and, you know what I'm saying, take us a long way. So, man, just we need to make sure that guy touch the ball a lot Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Just figure it out, Kyle. Figure it out.
Figure it
If
out.
you got to put him in the backfield, get him on some, make sure, y'all done paid him all that money. Make sure he get that ball on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So
Big, yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm hyped, bro. I'm
Yeah,
hyped, talking about this, man, because,
yeah,
deep. I was watching Craig Carton this morning, Greg Jennings, who you played against and beat many times throughout your career.
yeah.
He basically had the rankings of the offensive weapons on Sunday. I think he had Devontae Smith, and then he had George Kittle, and then he had AJ Brown, and then, or I think he had AJ Brown, then Debo Samuel, and then or maybe it was Debo, then he had Christian McCaffrey as number one ranked offensive weapon. So, and then Craig Carton had Debo as number one over C-Mac and Kittle and Ayuk and everyone. So, I mean,
Well,
kind of with that said, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I would say now AJ is the main guy, for the Eagles. We got to do something with him.
Yeah.
That guy can really take it over. He physical, he fast, he make great run after the catch. You know what I'm saying? I think if it's really, really cold out there Sunday, Devontae Smith not gonna be much of a factor. He's skinny. He don't like the cold. You know what I'm saying? So, but he could surprise us. But he having a good year. But I really think, guys like AJ and Debo, those type of guys that take over in games like this, guys who can pretty much do it all for you. Physical players that can, move the chain. So I'm looking forward to those guys, really having both, trying to have, big games for both of their teams. But, George is always important. The tight end will always be important because if they drop 8, they drop 9, then you got to find George.
Always.
If they double Debo or if they double Ayuk or if they putting, playing that, cover 4 and they dropping back everybody, you got to find George. So, that's definitely going to be something to look forward to. George needs to stay away from them bobble catches too this week. No more bobbles, George.
Yes, sir. I know you got to catch it with I guess full, but man, just with your hands, baby.
Right. But man, really and truly, man, everybody's gonna be important, man. I think, spot they not looking at that's gonna be important, the offensive line versus defensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like the Philly lead the league in sacks. Our offensive line is good, top 5. Some got to give. You know what I'm saying? Like what they're gonna look like. And then I think on the other side, I think the Philly offensive line is pretty good. Jason Kelsey. They got some guys up there. So some got to give over there. Will Nick Bosa be able to get to the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? I think he will. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it is going to start in the trenches.
Yeah.
It's going to start in the trenches. Then it's going to trickle out to Debo and, the rest of the guys. But at the first beginning of the game, I'm going to be watching the trenches and seeing how our trench guys perform, see if we can control their line and get Brock time to do what he do, or if we can make Jalen kind of nervous a little bit and kind of make some, some throws that he might not want to make. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be another key, to the game.
100%. You mentioned that Eagles offensive line, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, right? Lane Johnson's actually leading the league and kind of least amount of QB pressures. So, and it's funny, you actually answered my next question because I was asking about Nick Bosa. The last couple of games he's been a little quiet. He's had 86, I think, total defensive snaps, or maybe 86 per game or something around there. I'm not sure. His snap count hasn't gone down, but he hasn't been able to get the same amount of pressures or the same amount of QB, or the same amount of sacks, basically, that he's had in the regular season. But you kind of answered my question is kind of, you think that he will be able to break that this Sunday. In the event he's not able to break that, obviously with Charles Omenihu, I mean, I don't want to get into the domestic violence thing because Kyle's, everyone, they said they're going to play and let the legal process play itself out. So that's all needs to be said there. Who are you looking forward to be that second guy? Because you got Givens, you got Charles, you got Eric, you got a bunch of ballers. Drake Jackson, the rookie. Kind of who are you looking forward to be that second or third guy if Nick Bosa is double to triple?
They deep.
Yeah.
Armstead, we need him to have a big one.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of upset at him last week for letting that go in the end zone.
Yeah.
So he owed me 2. He owed me 2 this week.
Yeah.
He owed me 2 You know what I'm saying? I need 2 sacks from him for that crap.
Yeah.
But man, I think the safety is gonna play a part. Jimmy Ward.
Yeah.
I think they need to send him, let him spy this week, 29 as well. Let them spy on Jalen, let them get after him. It's a couple of different ways you can kind of make up for pass rush. You know what I'm saying? You can do it some with the DBs, with the linebackers. You know what I'm saying? I think one-on-one blocking with Miles Sanders Kenneth Gainwell. I think we got advantage there. So if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'm sending them linebackers and safeties this week because I want to see them boys hold up and pass block. You know what I'm saying? So it's a couple of different ways he can get creative and kind of make up for Nick. Nick don't have to be. It's not all on him. You know what I'm saying? He don't have to be to get 4 sacks every game. You know what I'm saying? But we do need to be creative in our approach, and we need everybody the ball.
What did you just say about? Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, what you just said about pass block would just jolted my memory for last week. One of the interceptions that Dak threw was to Fred Warner. Covering CeeDee Lamb in the slot. And if you think about it,
Jimmy Ward made a big time break on that too.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward was the one who tipped the pass, and then obviously landed in the hands of Fred Warner. Obviously that's perfect timing position. And sometimes, I don't want to bring me bad memories, but last time, the NFC Championship game that Niners went on the road and then they lost to the Rich Sherman, obviously he tips the ball and Malcolm Smith makes a pick, right? So, and obviously
you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to bring that one up, though.
My bad, bro. Hey, man, my bad, big dog. But but like we're talking, what I mean? Because basically, like what you said, the great teams find ways to make these types of plays, in the critical moments. And like you said, if the defense is schematically ready and sound, for a pass block, like you said, if they're able to adjust for the RPO, if they're able to come after Jalen, if they find a way, like you said, spy and be able to just find a way to swarm and fly around the field.
Get on his nerve, hit him. I don't even care if he get the ball off, in the first beginning of the game, but I hope D'Amico Ryans get off the bus. Hold on.
Yeah.
Did I lose you for a second?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even care if they get the sack, but at the first beginning of the game, man, let's come off the bus. Let's go at him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give him something to think about often and early. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I think players like Jimmy Ward and Tufunga, they're gonna be, crucial because they need to have a no-fly zone out there. You know what I'm saying? Sunday, like Devontae Smith, especially him, when he come across there, he hit his butt. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, he's a little guy. And I play with, smaller receivers. They don't want to be hit. I don't care how good they is and how tough they talk. They don't want to be hit. So once you set that up and you make sure he know you there and, give him something to peek at and think about, you can maybe get a couple drops out of him or, you know what I'm saying? You'll be like, get him to do something he don't normally do,
100%. No, I agree with you because I actually was one of those small receivers in JUCO Arena. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Getting hit ain't fun, ladies and gentlemen. So, and one more name who we haven't mentioned, Mooney Ward. Mooney has obviously been, yeah. So go ahead. I mean, he's been playing great. Yeah,
so. Man, and he have, man. I was talking to him, behind the bench during the game. Just pumping him up. He a Mississippi guy.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely a fan of his, man. I like his game. And so yeah, man, I think he played with the right energy too. They come out, and they finish plays, they tackle, They're not scared to stick their head in there, So, man, I think that's what the 49, that's what makes the 49er DB so good. They all got willing tacklers.
Yeah.
It don't look like none of them dodge any smoke. So, it's gonna be a great weekend to see them go up against AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goldberg, and all the weapons the Eagles got, So, I think the main thing we have to, a guy that we really sleeping on that they have to get, the number 16 that they have, the Eagles have. You got to keep him contained because he scary fast.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he burnt us the last time we played for a big one. I remember watching that game with my brother, and he went for like 90 yards on us. And I was like, dang, we got to contain this guy. We don't need to let him, make those type of plays on Sunday. So,
his name is
they got 3 guys that can really go. Yeah, Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins. Yeah.
Got to contain him as well. Can't forget about him. He a good receiver too.
Great receiver, but I'm hyped, bro. I'm just, oh my god, I can't wait, man. Because
I can't wait either.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
Today is Patrick Willis's birthday. He is 38 years old.
Sir.
Let's give a shout out Patrick Willis.
Exactly. Shout out to my dog, man. I love Patrick, man. You talking about one of the all-time great stand-up guys, man. Great character, great human being. My brother, man. And You know, I'm just happy for him, man. I can't wait to see him get that Hall of Fame jacket. We was watching Brian Young at alumni weekend. And I was just up, we was up in the suites, and I was telling him, like, Patrick, get ready now. Get that speech ready, because you next.
Yeah.
You next.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
I can't wait, man.
I can't wait either. I mean, obviously it's been long overdue. He retired early, for his health concerns, and that's probably a stronger statement to be made when you call it early and you're still in the prime of your career. And I think now, obviously, I mean, he's doing great things. Outside the field. He's also doing podcasts too, and I mean, hopefully, like you said, he gets in. I mean, that's all I care about. Just get him in.
Yeah, he definitely should. Definitely
should. I forgot to mention before we started, but I had your teammate TB Terrell Brown on. After the week after you did, after you came on back in 12 weeks ago, and I told him what you said about him crying every time you get after the ball and make that, and he said the crying came from your side. So what's your response to that?
He know that's not true. I ain't have. Only thing on my rule that I had out there, man, was like I was telling you last time we was on. When they try to strip the ball from me, that make me angry.
Yeah.
Because if I put the ball on the ground now, I just look like trash. Now I just look scary. Now I just don't look like I fit. Yeah. So when they used to come up there and try to do that stuff, man, I wasn't going. I just wasn't going. And he definitely was one of the crybabies in the locker room when it came to that. But nah, man, like I said last time, I definitely got respect for T, man. He was a pros pro. He just didn't like me stiff arming them like I was.
Oh, man.
As a matter of fact, I was talking to him, not him, but Craig Dow and CJ Spielman this weekend. We was all hanging out. Even Deshaun Ghostin, we was hanging out. Deshaun, he never really cared. He was with whatever. But Craig Dow and CJ Spielman, they was one of them ones too that just crybabies, Him and Dante Whitner, they just cried. But it's all good, man. We made each other better. Man, and it's all love, man. They know I like talking smack to them. They know when I see them, I'm gonna talk smack to them. That's just how I am, man. But man, I love those guys, man.
100%. Nah, you guys all love, baby, and La Familia, FTTB. So we out here, baby. So
you know how that brother love go, man. That brother love, yeah, I love you, but I'll bop you upside the head too.
Yes, sir, man. It's all love in the familia. Like we said, iron sharpens iron. So
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. And so like we talked about, obviously, with the alumni weekend, obviously, Patrick Willis is one of the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Terrell Brown obviously was on, and Dexter Carter, Randy Cross, two Niners greats, they're definitely excited. They both predict the Niners are going to make the Super Bowl.
Man, you gotta get. I'm gonna tell you who else you got to get on here, man. We had a real fun, colorful conversation last week. Charles Haley, man, he talked the most smack. He was talking smack to me and my boys when we came up in there. You know what I'm saying? And I was getting at him.
Yeah.
I was like, Charles, man, we don't want to hear that shit, Charles. I said, man, if you came around that corner, I'd chill block the hell out you. Yeah. We got something for you. And he was just in there and turning up.
Yeah.
Turning up. I said, yeah, no, Charles, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. But man, we was having some good conversations in the down low area, in the VIP area at the game, man. And he was one of my favorite players. He probably don't feel like that because I was talking so much noise to him while we was sitting there. But I always admire his game and what he stood for on the field and how he approached the game. I was the same way. And yeah, man, it's just been a fun, last couple months for myself, being back out here, being around all the guys, being in their environment. You hear all the guys saying, that's the main thing we miss, just being around each other, talking smack, poking at each other, just, what I'm saying, stuff like that. So, yeah, man, Niners got this, man. We got this weekend.
Yes, sir. We got this, baby. We're going to score predictions a bit. First, let's talk about Off the Gridiron. That's the point of the podcast. So you obviously are going back to Mississippi State to finish your degree. So congratulations.
Yes, man, I've been doing assignments this morning, man. I gotta get there. You know what I'm saying? Like I started out a little slow because I'm behind. I got into classes about 3-4 days after everybody started, but I've been working my butt off to kind of take these quizzes and get caught up, and I still got some stuff I got to write and get on. So yeah, man, that's kind of what I've been doing earlier today, and probably gonna be doing some more in a little while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's talk about what your objective is. You know what I mean? Because kind of what do you foresee with your educational path? Maybe post completion, or kind of where do you see it taking you?
Well, man, I wanna do some coaching. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting some offers. I actually got a offer from one of the JUCOs in Mississippi.
Oh,
Here recently, but a lot of it, is on hold because, like I said, I got to get my degree. So I can, start doing most of the stuff I want to do. A lot of that been holding me back. So, I kind of stepped away from my high school, and I just kind of been doing my own thing. I'm signed up for school. I probably won't be back at my high school this year, and I'm just gonna focus on me. This year gonna be a me year. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of focusing on myself. I want to graduate and get that done, kind of reset everything, and then get back out there. You know?
100%. No, you actually I was going to ask you, what are your New Year's resolutions, right? But you just kind of talked about being a mid-year. And I was going to ask you, obviously, for your high school football, kind of what was your objective kind of plan with there? But it sounds like, the plan's already been set. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's already been said, man. Like I said, I just felt it was time. I've been there 5 years. I put in a lot of work, and I really didn't get the opportunities that I wanted out of it. You know what I'm saying? And philosophies don't match. You know what I'm saying? Vision don't match. So it's time for me to kind of do something else and figure out some other stuff. So and get that degree so I can kind of take over and do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, what I know, and I know, I'm good at what I know, you know what I'm saying? And, I just want to be able to put it on full display and not be held back, and not have to fight with guys who really don't understand or can grasp what I'm trying to tell them. So, yeah, man, I'm just trying to move on, and like I say, take a me-year, take a step back. Sometimes you got to take some step back to go forward, you know what I'm saying? So that's all, man. Just kind of focusing on my grades, getting that degree. I'm even thinking about relocating right now. I think Cali might be out here in the Bay might be the spot for me. So I'm even thinking about doing that right now. I'm almost 50-50 with that right now. If it wasn't for that JUCO offer the other day, it'd be 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of made me kind of, step back a little bit. Like, I would love to do that, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. No, it's funny you said that JUCO because, where I played, it's actually near to, obviously where the 49ers play, San Jose City College, and my college coach from West Valley, also Saratoga, before they, dropped the program back in 2013. Coach Jim Winkler is the head coach over there. And one of the guests of the show, was someone who I played up against in JUCO. Shout out Jesus Carvajal. If you listen to this, coach, over there at San Jose City, linebackers coach, doing a hell of a job, building prospects and building, D1 transfers. So, I think, yeah, I mean, like you said, JUCO opportunities, like even for me, it definitely, opens up an opportunity because, if you were like me and you was fucking around your entire high school,
Right, right.
it definitely gives you the opportunity to have the second chance, like they call it last chance you for a reason. It's the last chance, but,
Yep.
Hopefully, like you said, it all plays out, to your favor. So,
Yep. Yeah, man, for sure. I think it definitely will, man. I also want to come out here, and it's not a lot of guys out here in the community that's doing personal training, and you really in the community with these kids. So I kind of want to come out here and get that started. I'd have met with some high school coaches out here as well. You know what I'm saying? And kind of planted some seeds, and they all for it. They ready. So I think a change of location is really just a matter of time for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited, man. I've been really excited about this year.
100%. No, it's gonna be a big year for big things popping, baby.
Yeah, big things popping for sure.
Big
For
show,
sure. Yeah.
no
Start
shout out.
starting with this view out here, man. You gotta come out here and get a load of that, man.
Oh man, no, I'm definitely coming out there.
Nice little pool over there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Big thing popping, man.
big things popping. Shout out to another coach, Coach Dub of the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, who was my college coach, San Jose City College, works with all top receivers. He's out there, like you said, developing, kids, and he works with all types of receivers in the NFL. Not anymore. He doesn't work with JUCO kids anymore, but that's where he started. You know what I mean? And so, like you said, everyone starts somewhere, and giving back to community could definitely open that door for that next, top level opportunity. So,
Right.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yep.
gotcha. Now,
Right.
I'm definitely sliding out there one of these days. So, yeah, let's go and wrap this up, though. So, final score predictions for this weekend. First NFC Championship game. Niners Eagles. Go.
Niners Eagles. Ugh. Uh I'm thinking Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns,
Ooh.
1 rushing touchdown. Debo, you know, you know, maybe could go for about 2 of them. George would get 1. C-Mac could get in the end zone too. Niners gonna score about 30 points in this. About 35,
Ooh.
35, 30. Yeah. We running it up
Ooh.
on these boys in their
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking final score. Let's see. 38, 38, 38, 31.
Mm.
49ers.
Shootout.
Shootout.
Shootout. All right, we got that locked. Okay. Kansas City Bengals.
Okay. I think that's gonna be another shootout. I think they're gonna go even higher. I think they're gonna be well, I'd say they'll probably be around the same area. Let's go. Well, you know what? In games that's predicted to go shootouts, I'm going with the low scope. I just changed my whole mindset. I'm going with the low scope. So they going 27-21.
Ooh.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay. It's funny.
Kansas
That
City.
was my prediction last weekend for the Cowboys and Niners, 27-21. So
Yeah, 27-21 Kansas City. 49ers in Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Niners win.
ooh. Final score.
Final score. Let's see. Last time they played, it was pretty high. Not gonna be that high again. I'm in the Super Bowl. 24-20.
Ooh,
49ers win.
Okay. We out, baby. Y'all heard it first. Anthony Boobie Dixon with the score predictions of 24-20. Niners over Chiefs. And this weekend coming up, the Niners over Eagles, 38-31. And Cincinnati under Kansas City. What was that? 28-24? What was that?
I got Cincinnati.
27-21. 27-21.
27-21. I got
Yes. KC.
Kansas City. Kansas City winning 27-21.
Yeah, Niners get some revenge. So,
Yep.
Yes, sir. All right, bro. Any final thoughts? Drop on here.
Man, I just want to, send out my New Year blessings. And just say, man, I appreciate you for having me. For giving me this, opportunity to shine. You know what I'm saying? And hey, I hope we can do many more. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, people.
Yes,
You heard, folks. Anthony Boobie Dixon. We are out.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you.